Call to order the Board of Education Committee of the Whole meeting on Monday, January 22nd, 2026. The Board of Education makes available at least one current copy of the Open Meetings Act, which is posted on the west wall of the meeting room and accessible to members of the public. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the agenda as presented.
Second?
Second.
And that includes the absence of Jan Byers. All those in favor of accepting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? First is Mr. Alexander is speaking about giving us a project update.
So, in front of you, this is just kind of a chance to update you on some of the projects that are going on and where they are. You can see at the high school, we have a lot of things lined up, and everything from asphalt, stair treads are complete. If you haven't had a chance, if you haven't seen those, they look amazing. So, gym floors are yet to be done at the end of July, 1st of August. Have some Hevlon upstairs carpet to be replaced yet. That is part of a project we started a year ago. Some trimming of bushes, fence post rails to be painted, top on box planters, parking lot lines, just all kinds of things going on out there. At the elementary, we're working on putting in a deeper drain basin and making it wider so it'll drain that water faster that comes out of that spout on the north side right by the gym. It just can't keep up with how much water's coming off the roof. And it's been a rainy season, so we've got to do something there. Playground mulch will be in July. We also have one other project that we're working on that's rain related. We got an estimate on it. I'm just going to kind of hold for a little bit right now on that west door where going out to the playground. There's nothing to protect the water from coming down on the cement and then just rushing into the door. There's nothing there to protect that. And so if you remember back to the previous elementary schools, we had grates at the front entry where the water would run into the grates. So we have that for an idea. We have a French drain for an idea. We have some different ideas that we're looking into to kind of help cure that situation. So when the rain comes really hard, wind-driven rain, and hits that cement, and then it just goes underneath the door and there's no stopping it. So we're looking at that. HVAC units at the middle school will be delivered. Looks like we thought it was going to be this week, but it looks like now it's going to be after the 4th. So that project is on track. The SOC will be here towards the end of July or mid-July, and they'll be putting that together. We are also going to screen it and recoat the gym floor at the middle school after that's going. And that'll be a good test of the HVAC system in there. The berm at the front of the board office here, it's a work in progress. It's coming along. It's getting better a little bit at a time. We still have some more things that we're working on, but it is much more toned down than what it was before. Kind of looks cleaner, if you don't want my opinion, but hope everybody likes that. We're waiting on some boulders that will be going on there. And then at the Scott Street house, we have some tree trimming and some soffit repair that we're working on. So that's just a list of some of the projects, a lot of them that we're working on, and Rhonda's working on, and we put this together just to kind of give you an update.
Thank you.
Yep.
Student handbook, Dr. Nielsen.
Perfect, and I'm going to invite three administrators that are back there to come up and help. So in front of you, do we need? Did you pass?
I passed. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I thought I counted right.
No, you didn't.
Bring it on.
Doris, did you get one? No, I think you need one. So in front of you, you have the handbook changes, and it's just a condensed version. We
Which we
can,
appreciate.
give you a copy of this if you want. So if you would like this, absolutely, but last year everyone got a copy because we were changing the whole format. This year, we're just going to tell you what the updates are in the handbook. So as we look at all students that this affects, we did update the administration page to make sure that we had our new administrators noted. Transfers and moving, we updated it to reflect policy 5005 regarding DHHS investigations and students not being able to be unenrolled if they are currently part of an investigation. On page 12, we updated the acceleration. We added a statement regarding acceleration of students. We had a statement about retention, but we did not have a statement about acceleration, so we needed to make sure that was in there.
So what's that mean? Is
Yeah,
that-
what's the
So
statement?
acceleration would be
Graduate early?
skipping a grade. It could possibly be graduating early. So usually you accelerate in the grades of K-8. Usually it affects our high ability learner students, are the students that would be asking to be accelerated.
How many do that?
Very few. And they have to, so we had, in my tenure, I've had 3 students make the request. And 2 of them did not meet the criteria to accelerate. This last one that I had did meet the criteria and was able to accelerate. So when you are looking at it, because I then call in our school psychs to give a cognitive test, just to make sure that cognitively they are able to move ahead and move faster through their studies. But it is individual case-by-case basis that we look at it, just like we do for retention.
Do they have to test?
They have to test, yes, yeah. Page 14, we added a reference to policy 5209 for school library materials and parent access, making sure that was in there. On page 18, we updated lunch prices. On page 20, we updated a heading, and we added to this heading because it was about absences, but it was about absences in recess and PE. It was not just a general absence, and so we made it more specific so that if parents were looking for that information, it would be more specific about that. On page 21, we added policy 5601 to the medication regarding asthma, anaphylaxis, and allergic reaction protocol. On page 29, and you will see this throughout, Neatos and dumplings have become a fun favorite for kids to bring to schools. They're these little squishy things. However, when they pop, they tend to make a lot of messes. And then everyone wants a Neato or a dumpling, so we added that they are not acceptable. Personal items, one of the other things we added is that the district is not responsible for personal electronic devices or personal items that are brought to school, just making sure that that is clear. Student discipline, we updated to reflect changes in policy 5101, so we added that to short-term suspension, long-term suspension, and expulsion, and that will be the policy that you will approve that will add in those components that our administrators need to make sure are in the write-up. And then page 53, we added advanced absences and tardies. We updated provider's note and referred to policy 5008. And this is the provider that provides a note for a medical absence, and it has to be a medical provider. So we updated that specific language in there. So any questions about PK-12? So just the general first part of the handbook.
All policy changes pretty much.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay, Mr. Boyd's going to take preschool and elementary.
Yeah, so for both schools, we added statements just about meals. We didn't have anything in there per se about soda or things like that for lunch, or students bringing just a bag of chips for lunch. And so we did add a statement about the importance of having that balanced meal, not having those sugary drinks. The other thing that we noted were with our water bottles, which we allow, they're only to be used for water. Obviously, we're not going to go through and check every single water bottle, but that way we just had that in there in case there is something that comes up. That's the expectation, is that they're just used for water. And then we also added the Neatos and dumplings came from just this explosion of fidgets, if that's what you want to call them. And so we had an immense amount of them with the staff asking for some sort of help with restricting those, because if you've seen like the giant bananas or whatever, they just become a nuisance item as opposed to
I've never even
now,
seen one.
oh man, my kids purchased a bunch yesterday. She
I've
has
got a
six.
couple at home, I can
Yep.
bring you
Oh,
some.
yeah. All their friends told them Shields restocked, so we had to go there. But anyway, so nothing large or drastic, just some holes that we had from the initial writing of our pre-K and elementary one that we wanted to fill. That were some issues that arose.
Yeah, regarding the balanced meal and sodas, how is that expressed? Is there any enforcement, recommendation? Is that going to parents? How we give,
I don't know.
how can we help with that?
Remember the exact score. Or 87.
Because I'm
Students who choose
absolutely
to
in
bring
agreement.
it says, students who choose to bring a cold lunch, we encourage packing a balanced meal to help them power through the rest of the day. Please note that sodas and sugary drinks are not permitted at meals.
Okay.
It's all right. I didn't want to give you, I wanted you to have it verbatim. I don't remember exactly what you said.
Okay, any questions, any other questions about preschool or elementary? Okay, Mr. Stengel.
All right, we have two. One goes to athletic and extracurricular eligibility, so there's been a little bit of a shift with the high school, so we wanted to make sure that we're kind of looking at it at the middle school level. So it is regarding homeschool bound students who participate in extracurricular activities. We had reached out to the conference schools, and we had that they had to be enrolled in 4 classes to participate a homeschool kid. And we were by far the highest on that. A lot of them were either 1 class or 0 classes, I believe. Nebraska City was at 0, everybody else was at 1, and Platteview was at 2, but looking at possibly changing that. So at the middle school level, just having the conversation, what we have decided to do is they have to meet our academic eligibility requirements for and code of conduct, but to be participating in extracurricular activities, they do not need to be enrolled in a class, because that kind of creates a mixed message, like, hey, you come to 1 class at, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but then you participate in extracurriculars. So we don't really have, there's no state statute to follow, but that's kind of, we got guidance from other schools, so that's what we shifted the handbook to. And then the other one is with water bottles, just back to the clear water, no colored water, and everything, just leave them a little bit. So those are the 2 for the middle school handbook.
So they don't have to take any classes to participate in an activity after school?
And extracurricular, yeah.
They do, though, have to provide grade reports. That's because we want to make sure that they are successful in their homeschool program, so we are going to ask for those grade, just like we do
So
with our
there's no
students.
state statute on that?
No.
I guess I don't agree with that. I think they should be part of the school in some way, whether it's 1 class, 2 classes, before they participate in extracurricular activity. For that. That's my opinion. I mean, it's public school, if you're gonna participate in a sport or speech or drama or whatever it is, you should be part of the school in some way. And so that should be at least 1 to 2 classes.
How many participate?
So I don't disagree with the current policy of you having to take a certain amount of credit hours to participate. Because
Yeah.
otherwise,
Absolutely, I see it both sides too,
Yeah.
Eric. Like, that's one of those things where it's like, which side do you look? Because the high school is moving to,
We have one,
one.
we have one,
And-
and we do at the high school, which that's guidance from NSAA, which doesn't apply to the middle school, but it could, that could be your.
so I
help
don't
me-
see
that
why it
could
should
help
be
your
different
guide.
than the high school for middle school. It's the same, I think it should be one policy all the way across. I think we need to address that.
There's
I wouldn't disagree with that.
there's philosophies both ways. Obviously, you're the board. We work for you. It's something where in looking at it from that standpoint, and that's what's required by the high school, by NSAA, and it's also required, the change this year was in national organizations like FFA requiring what they require. There are no requirements for middle school that guide that, so it is a local decision, board by board by board. And as Craig referenced, we checked with what our conference does. We were at 4, which was way higher. Everybody else was at 1 or 0. In discussion amongst other conferences, a lot of the middle school conference schools felt like if we make people enroll in a class, then that is requiring them to have to do something to come participate. We would like them to just be able to come participate. And the philosophy behind that is, if we get you there, then hopefully you will continue to be there and come in high school as well, and even think about coming to school.
Especially like those relationships are gonna make when they're participating and making friends and then.
Yeah. So from that standpoint, just to explain, that's the standpoint that as we discussed with other conference schools, you know, we were at 4. It was go with 1 or 0. So we went with 0, but I mean, if you as a board tell us we've got to go with 1,
How many students are we talking about?
Less than
What's
2,
2? Yeah,
possibly 1.
yes. And I think
Is it a
across the
sports
board,
that they participate in, or is it?
More than likely, yes. It
we've
was
had the
sports.
band students too that have participated. We've had house students
that's
that
a
have
class,
participated.
So I'll read that.
But band could be outside too, so band is a class, but then
Like concert choir
your
or
concert,
whatever.
yeah.
How do they participate in band outside of class?
Well, it would be a class, you're right.
Oh, okay.
Here's
Yeah.
how we worded it, Doris. Homeschool students who wish to participate in extracurricular activities must provide documentation of academic progress sufficient to demonstrate compliance with the district's academic eligibility requirements. Enrollment in district academic coursework is not required for participation unless the coursework is directly connected to the activity in which the students participate in, such as band or other activities like that.
I'd have to agree with Eric that I think it's gonna be weird if we say, the middle school's got one rule, and then the minute they hit high school, then we say, oh, no, gotta go to take a class now. They wouldn't be in the habit of doing that, and their question is gonna be, well, why?
I agree too. We have different rules for middle school and high school cell phone use. I think we still do, you know, but I'm with Eric on this. I think it should just be the same way all the way through.
And what's high school? 1 class? I think that's,
and that's
That's
again
NSAA.
directed by
but I
NSAA.
think that's minimal, because then we're just basically allowing, okay, you choose to homeschool, but now you want to participate in public schools event, so just take 1 class so they can take.
So is this how we've been
PE.
doing this whole time then? Just 1 class? Now we're changing it to no?
It's been 4.
It's been
Or 4,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
But when did the high school change?
High school's always followed NSAA, so NSAA was 4
That's
at
been
one point in
that way
time.
for like the last
Yeah.
probably 5 or 6
NSAA
years,
just
isn't it? Yeah,
changed it.
because that changed in statute
Yeah.
and NSAA guidance like 5 or 6 years ago, I
Yeah,
think.
it's been that way for high school for a while. I know
Mhm.
that.
And then, and typically there's legislation that happens that kind of directs it sometimes, like this year, legislation directed that students don't have to enroll in 5 credit hours for an activity that's not directed by the NSAA. But if it's a national organization like FFA, which was the whole reason for the legislative change this year, then they have to enroll in the same amount of credit hours that the national organization requires. So for FFA, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what it is, but it's like three hours they have to enroll in at least that many in order to participate in the organization. So that, because NSAA does not direct FFA, but
I don't know, my opinion is we're a public school, those students that attend public school have the rights to participating in the activities, and if you don't and you choose to do that, then you're out. That's my opinion.
Are there specific examples where this would come in or has come in? I'm wondering, the arguments all make sense in both ways, but part of what I'm asking is how significant are the arguments? How big a difference is it whether we go one way or the other? How significant is this decision?
You're saying the grand total number?
Or
Like,
just
Or
that
any?
if
Yeah,
they take one class,
I'm just
is
thinking,
that,
how controlling do we want to be? What is our philosophy of providing these kind of limits, and how much freedom do we want to give? So I'm thinking philosophically, how do we want to go? Because we can keep adding rules all over the place, but is that what we want to do? So that's a question.
Can you add a higher activity fee for those homeschool students?
I know.
We could.
I'm just asking,
Yeah.
I mean, could that be an option?
mhm.
Instead of what, the $55, it now becomes
7,500.
$400 if you're, I mean, take football for example, we don't have any of those, but I mean, that's a high cost activity.
I think one of the other things you need to take into consideration as a board, and I mean, just with the conversation, you know, these are all great points. I think one of the things to take into consideration as a board is, and we didn't specifically, I did not talk to other area schools. I have not talked to them. But what do they do? Because I think, to Charles's question is, what is the impact? Well, we don't ever really know that because we don't, I mean, if we have one or two that come, great, but are we losing any to other schools that aren't required? We don't know that. And I don't know, I'm just being honest, I don't know in the area which neighboring school districts require some middle school classes to participate in activities and which ones don't. But I can find that information out for you if that's something that makes a difference as well.
I just wonder if it's premature to make a decision with what we know right now.
Yeah, and right now, tonight, we're telling you what the changes are, but we can have that for you at the board meeting.
Yeah, my opinion is you choose to homeschool, then you forego any ability to participate in public schools extracurricular activities.
How many people at the high school are we talking about?
Well, there's a few.
There'd be a few.
How many?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know the number off the top of my head. I'd say 5 to 10. It'd be a safe bet, but I don't know the specific number.
He's probably
Are
right.
they all sports people?
Yeah.
Most of them, yeah. There'd be
Some parts.
some art
Mhm.
things, but mostly activity. Oh yeah, sports activities. Yeah, from the high school's perspective, it's we want the kids at the school. You know, we're talking credit at the high school too, so it's just a different ball of wax where you're, you know, we just need them at school, and so it's good to just that we have the NSAA to follow, and really doesn't change anything for what the high school will do with what the middle school does, but from transparency purposes, clarity purposes, if it's the same, that's fine. If it's a little bit different, it doesn't really impact us one way or the other, I guess is the only thing
Why
I'm
did
saying.
NSAA make those decisions to only attend one class?
State statute.
But why? Who drives that?
NSA bylaws,
Mhm.
they have their
But
own
this-
concept.
according to state statute, they had to follow, that's, the state legislature passed something that said,
I don't remember at that time if it was state statute or if it was just NSAA bylaws change, a bylaw changed.
I somewhat remember it, so big grain of salt on it. It was a push to try to expand parents' options to choose homeschooling route, and they did not want kids to be negatively impacted in their ability to participate. So, but then schools were doing things completely different. Some schools were doing it one way, and so then the NSAA then had to step up to give clarity across the state, so then there was equal playing ground for every school, especially when it came to high school activities.
And that to me makes sense.
And the other one, I think I said middle school was a water bottle, so, same as elementary, so. That was the middle school handbook.
Okay, high school.
Okay, ours was similar in nature, just kind of cleaning some things up based off of things that had been done, prior practices that, you know, just were some holes, cleaning it up so that it was the same across the board. So moved it to one or more classes rather than two or more classes, so there's a little bit of discrepancy there where it said one in one area, two in another, so we just made it so that it was the same. Number two was added C into the ineligibility parameters, which then states an alternative assignment may be given in place of an activity that is part of the student's grade. If this alternative assignment is completed, they would earn the respective points towards their grade.
So if a student is not eligible to participate, because it all falls under the eligibility piece, if they are not eligible to participate in an activity, but there is a grade associated with that, an alternative assignment may be given. Now, they may still be able to participate just because a grade is associated with it, but they may also be given an alternative assignment.
Giving the teachers a little more flexibility to help the kids get caught back up too. And then last thing was just adding a statement about temperature baseball competitions, practices. So no baseball competitions or outdoor practices will be played if the temperature at a game time feels like 32 degrees or colder. So we ran into that a little bit this year, that it was cold baseball games and the kids' hands were rattling when they were hitting the ball. So we had the hot, but we did not have the cold for baseball. So
Has to do with like gripping the ball, things like that, when it's colder.
Back in your day, it didn't matter, did it?
It's similar to
Let it
football.
rip.
Cold or hot.
Go get out on the bump, let it roll.
Yes.
Alrighty.
So, so before we move off of handbooks, do you as a board want us to pull that out about middle school and have that discussion
Yes.
before, and then we can vote on?
Yep.
Okay.
My opinion is it should be at least the same as high school.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You should draw examples of needles and dumplings.
Oh, I could have. Like I said, my kids
That's
bought,
something to look forward
my
to.
kids bought lunch yesterday, so I can indulge in.
Try to get the most obnoxious one, Mr. Boyd.
Okay, moving on to the staff handbooks. This would include your certificated, classified, and substitute. This is much shorter. There are not many changes that are added or that are needed to this piece. For the substitute handbook, we added parameters regarding paraprofessional substitute expectations. One of the things that with state reporting, a paraprofessional substitute is a para. So they have to then be highly qualified according to the state. So if I'm a paraprofessional substitute, I have to complete Project Para or have enough hours to be highly qualified. So that's just something, just stating those expectations in that substitute handbook. In all three of the handbooks, we updated the dress code to provide a more modernized perspective. There was a lot of discussion about wearing hose and closed-toed shoes, so we wanted to just make it a little bit more in tune with where we are currently. And then we also added a statement regarding personal property and making sure that staff understood that their property is their responsibility and it's not if something happens to their phone when a student may grab it, it is not our responsibility. So they need to keep those phones away and keep their personal property taken care of. So that is nuts and bolts of those 3 handbooks. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Orchestra equipment.
Okay, in short, Mr. Thompson, middle school band teacher, has communicated a need for the area where the orchestra equipment is being stored from the time period that we did have middle school orchestra. It's been, I don't know, several years since we've had that program. There is, I don't know exactly the numbers, he didn't provide those for me, but there's enough equipment that is taking up a room that he could use for storage or individual lessons or whatever the case may be. And he's just asking if it would be okay if we could auction that equipment off, and then, but they want to hold back enough to be able to have a couple of instruments of each type to use as introductory things for, and show kids what they are and so
Did we
forth.
talk about this a while back?
I put it in my superintendent,
Oh, okay.
but I wanted to talk about it here, and you have to vote on it, so.
And it was all purchased by the school,
Yeah.
we know.
So, we'll put it out there, see what happens, and then all the money, all the proceeds that will come from that will go back to band to be able to purchase equipment that if kids need an instrument, that we have one to loan them throughout the course of the year. So,
Policy 5003, assignment of students, grade placement, transfer students.
Yeah, so this is kind of a follow-up from the Kirkendall's discussion last Cal meeting that I was not able to attend, but we did say that we would at least at the, just committee of the whole meeting, we would review this policy and make a determination if we feel there are any changes that need to be made. And if, as a board, we do, then we would send it to legal for further review and then bring it through the normal policy review process at board meeting. So 3 readings and then approval and so forth. So I think it really comes down to the policies in front of you, 5003, where the piece that they were looking at is more about the transfer of accredited credits from alternative schools, essentially. And so I think that's on the
Back,
back.
on the back where they talk about,
Yeah, so however administration may in its discretion and subject to regulatory requirements grant credits towards mean graduation requirements. So basically what it comes down to, are we still comfortable with the way the policy reads to give administration, we're talking Jason, Jackie, Beth, that kind of authority to make that determination, or do we need to rewrite that piece of it to be more specific towards, I mean, there could be hundreds of examples. I mean, it could be a homeschool student, it could be somebody coming, I don't know, from other alternative schools. So, in my opinion, I like that it's left up to administration, and then again, just in the same situation we had, if there was an appeal to the board, we heard that appeal, we made that decision, and we felt that administration made the appropriate recommendation for that student at that time. So that's essentially why I'm just, again, just kind of keeping in line with what the family had asked. So we've gone through the process with the family, but now they're just asking us to review the board policy, which is appropriate, bring it to the board level and make that determination. So again, tonight, all we're asking is, do we feel there should be changes? And if so, we will then send it off to legal for further review. If we don't, then it pretty much stops here.
I think the policy is clear and gives good direction to the administration to make a determination. So, I mean, I think, I want to leave in there, credit earned at a non-accredited institution is not going to be accepted. I just think that's
I think
And
we
I-
just set a precedence that we don't want.
Right.
And I think it was appropriate in the case we had where we had lots of background information. And so obviously administration did an excellent job on providing that to the board during that time frame. And so we had all the information, is very well laid out, and I think, again, they made the appropriate decision. We felt that was as well.
Yeah, it takes a lot of effort to be able to go through all that documentation and make that decision. And my inclination is likewise, I trust the administration to do the job. I don't want to be second guessing that.
And I think it was appropriate in the situation we had where the family felt that they didn't feel the administration, I guess, for lack of better words, being fair, and so they brought it to the board
Yeah.
to appeal. And so I think that's
They've
our
got-
role there.
They've got that right.
Yes. And obviously, anybody has that opportunity to do so, so.
I think the policy is good as written.
Yeah, I would agree with Doris.
I agree.
So is everybody under the agreement that we leave the policy as is? And obviously, if there's any statutory changes that come forth through the legislature, then we will review and revise at that time.
I think it was a good exercise in making the process so
Yeah.
we understand it better.
Okay, thank you.
Rescind policy 4165, release from contract.
Okay, so in the last couple of years, talking about policies, we have a couple that they don't necessarily contradict each other, but they cause some confusion. I'm gonna try and do my best to explain to you what that confusion is, and then we did talk to Justin and I at Perry Law Firm about this, and he gave a suggestion. And so what I'm going to try and do is create this through an analogy. So March 15th is the floor. And basically what the floor is we cannot ask any staff member in the district before March 15th if they plan on returning for the next year. So on March 15th, then we can ask them to sign a letter of intent, and that letter of intent is, it's really, it's kind of like, it's an obligation that they are coming back. So that's the floor. And if they sign it, then there's an obligation there, okay? The ceiling is April 15th. And April 15th is where, by state law, if we haven't notified them that we're not renewing their contract, they're automatically locked in. And so you have March 15th where we can't ask for anything prior to that, or it can't be due, and then you have April 15th where it's any certified employee may secure a release from said contract. Before that, but after April 15th, request from a contract, release from a contract will be given only if a suitable replacement can be found. So, in trying to eliminate the confusion, the April 15th deadline is in state law. So it's a given. It's just, if we don't say, hey, we're not renewing your contract before April 15th, they're coming back. So the recommendation from Justin was eliminate 4165 because it's a state law, and keep 4171 because it outlines the point that nothing can be sent or required of staff before March 15th.
Does that still give them till April 15th
To sign it.
to sign it?
Yes.
So that would be the deadline to sign it,
Yep.
to get out of their contract. Okay.
I mean, do you still need to note April 15th, or is that just a given that everybody falls under?
It would be a given, would it not? If they haven't signed it and haven't turned it in, April 15th.
Due by April 15th.
By April 15th, technically, by law, if they haven't turned in their letter of intent, we could replace them if we wanted to.
And by vice versa.
and vice versa. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just, like I said, it's kind of the floor ceiling analogy, and April 15th is just what's written in the law, but what has happened in the teacher shortages, schools have really gone to that March 15th, and then, you know, if teachers sign that they're returning, then it's an obligation that they're held. We can work with you, and we have, and we've done that even with this in policy and in state law. We're gonna try and work with people as close as we can, but this policy just kind of creates that confusion that if we just have 4160 or 4171,
So we're gonna get rid of 4165.
that's the recommendation.
So do you add the 4171, that last in the second paragraph, any employee who fails to respond or declines to accept employment for the following school year may be terminated from employment by April 15th? Because I could just see some people just,
Yeah, I feel like April 15th has to be written somewhere.
yeah, I could just,
I can definitely check on
yeah,
that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
just to have that April 15th in there someplace, just so people know, because who knows, it could be.
And when does the district then have to let people know that they won't be asked back?
By April 15th.
Yeah.
So will that be in some
Well, I think
state?
that's
So
where-
they'll get their contract by March. It's really, the teacher's point of view is March 15th is the date that they find out if they're getting their contract back. And they do, and then they have till April 15th to sign it or to be able to back out of it if another job comes up.
I could even add in the provision, the wording, April 15th, the state mandated April 15th deadline. Say, it's the state, not us.
I'm just saying, you could have some very new teachers that have no idea that April
Yeah,
15th
that's
exists.
how you,
Exactly, and that's, it,
Most people do.
and it's
but-
confusing, yeah.
It is confusing.
I mean, they have to get 15, but
Yeah, I know.
that's. It is, that
Maybe
is.
not do March 21st.
And there are some schools that have negotiated May 1st as that's what I had in grant, is May 1st. And I got an interview here on May 1st. It was great.
it's been interesting as things have evolved over the past 10 years, just because of there being fewer and fewer teachers, how schools have tried to create ways to, you know, lock people in sooner. And, you know, like I said, and we did this year, we had 2 examples of staff members we worked with, but this just rescinding that just eliminates confusion, I think, on everybody's part.
Because potentially if a teacher after April 15th resigns and just says, I'm leaving, you can report that to the state and they could lose their teaching license or certificate.
For a year.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that's that potential.
Costco for a year.
Yeah.
And the only caveat to that is as long as it's in the state of Nebraska. If they go out of state, then they can get a license there and be fine.
And we try to work with,
No, I know,
Also,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
And we've
the-
done that
yes.
over the
absolutely.
past
Mhm.
it's case by case basis.
Yes.
Usually it works out.
Yep.
Usually it does. Okay, so that's that.
CTE building, Mr. Alexander.
All right, so as you're aware, we've been working with BCDM Architecture to develop preliminary plans for career and technical education. That's CTE, stands for Career and Technical Education Facility. Throughout this process, representatives from BCDM, Pat Carson and Jamie Wheatfield, have visited the proposed site. They've met with district administration on multiple occasions, teachers, and engaged discussions with Mr. Collis and Mr. West and Mr. Anusa to better understand the specific needs and functionality of the building, what the vision is. So BCDM has been working with all of us to kind of get that vision of what this building is going to be. Last week I spoke with Pat Carson regarding the project, and I'm having another discussion with him in the morning, Zoom meeting, to address several remaining questions to finalize kind of the design of the building. The current concept is for an approximate 42,000 square foot metal building with an estimated construction range from about $3 to $4 million. So, this, for the woods, the autos, the welding, and the ag, this building can, in your mind, if you imagine a metal building that can house those things and function like almost a Quonset type thing, that's kind of what the goal is. So that's why for $3 to $4 million, we think we can get it done. The projected, due to the scope of the projected cost, I'll find out more of that tomorrow if we're in the right target area. Architectural plans will require a professional architectural stamp. BCDM has submitted a proposed agreement to do all those services, not to exceed $19,000, so really reasonable. And then any reimbursable expenses would require prior written authorization from the district before they would incur those. So again, this is the same company that did the elementary school, and they were great to work with. They've been great so far to work with. But to get us to where we are right now, they've done that amount of work. The agreement will be at the board meeting, and hopefully at that time also we'll have the preliminary drawings for you to take a look at as well. So we'd be asking for your approval at the July meeting to do that. Also at that time, we'll be seeking your approval for the architectural services, and then we'll begin the discussion regarding fundraising efforts to support that project itself. This is not one with the other projects that we have, and the changes in how the state, we can use our building fund, we could use that. So it'll have to be a situation where we look into private funding for that. The three teachers that I talked about, they are heavily, they think strongly that there is interest out there to help support this type of project. So hopefully with their help and the help of the foundation, we can get this accomplished and get it going.
I think it's a great idea.
Yes.
So that,
I just saw a really nice one this week, and I was like, oh my gosh, we've been getting this in here.
About there,
And
which
over
is
there,
like-
this is amazing, so.
So the proposed site right now, and we'll, I'm sure when they show us the drawings, they'll show you a layout. If you drive out by the high school, kind of as you start, you can look at it two different directions. If you come off of Scott Street and go in by the speed bumps, over where that old house used to sit, there's trees there now, and it's staked out where that would be. So it's, Scott Street comes in, and the speed bumps come in like this, and then you go here, so it's right here. Or if you come in by the highway, it's gonna be right there, where those trees would be. So it'd be a jaunt across the parking lot, but the reason it works there, because we looked at other spots, the reason it works there is because of that old house that used to be there. There's utilities, there's hookups, everything's already there, and it would make it
A little
pretty,
bit easier.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would there be enough room, like if we ever wanted to add like that electrician program or plumbing program or any other programs, would there be enough room to add to this, or?
Great question. The way this building's being built, there is room for a lot of future development. And there's kind of a, in the front of it, there's kind of a smaller space for a conference room, so if they want to do meetings, have a class come in and do a Zoom meeting or whatever, they can come in, kind of a conference room, or if they want to have speakers come in. One of the big parts that was talked about as well as, like Aaron says, being able to have live animals for ag. And then Mr. Weston was excited about the opportunity, like electrical. We could have people come in and even show kids and talk to kids about those things in that space. That would be something we need. Beatrice has a need for this. It's a need to provide for career and technical education for our students.
Well, I think with welding, they can't do like big welding now, they
Yeah.
provide space for that. When they do construction, they'll have a bigger space to do that, because now they have to wait till it's nice outside, well, they get summer in, so
Yeah.
I think it's, and I believe we'll have the support of the community.
Our current ventilation systems for our welding and wood shop involve raising the garage door. So we need to upgrade that and provide a better ventilation system for both of those two, and autos included. Kids, it's just, it can be safer and it can be better, and it's something that our community is it's representative of our community, and I think we can find support.
Van and bus purchasing, seems like that's all we do.
Yeah, it's weird how things change from one year to the next. So my first sentence is, I know this sounds crazy, but the 10-passenger transit vans with appropriate modifications have now been approved by the NDE. So if you recall, 2 years ago, we were talking about how all these 10-passenger vans that we use were outlawed by the federal government. Well, now, if you make the appropriate modifications to them, and there's 2 companies in the state of Nebraska that will do it, then that will make those modifications, then the NDE will approve them. So we're able to purchase a 10-passenger transit van. The details, it's a transit 350 motor, low roof, all-wheel drive. The MSRP on it is $70,757. We get government pricing at $66,136. So when you think about it, some of the utility vehicles we've been buying have been used at $55,000 or 8-passenger vehicles. So this is a 10-passenger vehicle with room to carry equipment, and it's 66. So it's a good deal. 10-passenger capacity in stock, so we will have it for you to approve at the next point.
Does this modification include removal of the passenger front seat? Is that?
That's part of it,
Yes.
yes.
I just don't get that. Why do-
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Some of the red tape, so even that we have to. Okay,
We will not have any public comments. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. This meeting is adjourned.
Good evening, guys.
Same here.
So I can either wait, but I gotta go get something out of this car.